because, I mean, we're talking here today about climate change, and I think everybody had to come somehow to Larissa, so maybe you were aware of your carbon footprint. I offset my flight, but of course also when you think about train, taxi or whatever, is the person you're sitting in the taxi with also offsetting their carbon footprint? So what can we do as an individual, but what we can also do as a society? So we travel for business or pleasure, and was it really fun in the last couple of years? After 2 years of on and off global lockdowns, quarantine mandates and travel regulations, the need to gather and experience collectively some cultural joy or exchanging business ideas in a forum like this feels more pressing than ever. We want to connect with people again. But the arrival of COVID-19 has transformed the world we live in. All major gatherings for events had to be reinvented, postponed, downscaled, or cancelled altogether. By 2022, major event and travel organizers are determined to make a comeback and show that it is possible to travel safely and enjoy mass gatherings. But how big is the thirst to really come together in an auditorium with 5,000, maybe 10,000, 80,000 people, if you think about concerts? We will talk about the tourism industry now, and I'm really happy that we have two great speakers already on the podium. Giorgio Priester, our president of Major Cities of Europe, will be the session leader and will help me leading the Q&A part later on. And we have already our keynote speaker here with us, so I'm going to introduce you now to Mr. Buhalis, if you haven't met already, during the networking session. Our first keynote speaker is a strategic management and marketing expert specializing in information communication technology applications in tourism, travel, hospitality, and leisure industries. He is the director of eTourism Lab and the deputy director of the International Center for Tourism and Hospitality Research at Bournemouth University Business School in England. He was recently a visiting professor at the School of Hospitality and Tourism Management in Hong Kong, and he also works closely with the United Nations World Tourism Organization. Well, he has many, many other official titles, but I think I would already take up the whole, session if we would talk about this. So Professor Dimitrios Buhalis will explain to you that smart and real-time tourism will revolutionize the tourism and hospitality industry. And looking into the future, this presentation will emphasize on the importance of network competitiveness and how to maximize the benefits for all stakeholders. Please welcome Dimitrios Buhalis to the stage.
It's a great pleasure to be with you. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you to Giorgio. Thank you to Tassos and to Mina. And apologies for all the difficult things that I've been giving them for a long time. It's a great pleasure to be in Larissa. My first time in Larissa. I'm Greek, but I live around the world for the last 32 years. So it's great to reconnect with friends and also explore Larissa as a place. I'm going to go very quickly through a lot of slides. And a lot of the research that we've been doing in the last, well, I've been working in tourism and technology for about 35 years, and this is the most exciting thing because everything is changing. Anything I need to know?
Yes, so that we can catch you on the camera and on the light. You should be in the light, so you're dancing in the shadows at the moment. I heard. So please dance in the light with me.
I can do anything. I worked in the Club Med in the 80s, right? Okay, good, lovely. I'm going to go quickly through a lot of material, and I understand that most of you are dealing with cities. I'm dealing with tourists and tourism, and most of the cities are having temporary citizens that they are tourists. Tourists are temporary citizens. But they are coming to very hostile environments because they do not speak the language, they don't know the local geography, they do not understand how to do things. And quite often, we take advantage of the tourists. We give them higher prices, we give them the wrong information, sometimes actually we put them in danger. So smart cities, and I've just done a book on smart cities, is actually easier than smart tourism. Why? Because you know the ecosystem, you know the stakeholders, you know the people who are around that kind of area, and it's about interconnectivity, interoperability between the different stakeholders within the ecosystem. When you're dealing with smart tourism, you are bringing people who are coming from all over the world. They do not know anything. They are virgins quite often. It's first time, especially if they've never been there before, and they've got to connect very quickly with the resources of the city and engage and very quickly understand what to do, where to go, what's the local context and what's the local conditions. So this is the essence of what I'm going to be saying. I've just deleted 250 slides last night, and I've only left about 100. So first we start with advertising. This is my journal, Tourism Review. It's the most established journal in tourism. We are on volume 88 years. And this is the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing. I've just finished it during COVID. 2 million words, 1,500 contributors, 1,250 terms that we analyze in the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing. Please buy it. It's expensive. It only costs 1,400 pounds, but it has got everything you need to know about tourism. I became much more clever by reading this. I thought I knew everything. I've been in tourism for 43 years. When I read all the stuff that contributors were doing, I just became much more clever. And there are 4 volumes. There is 3,528 pages, and there is a quiz for you, and if you find it, I'll buy you a beer. How many kilos it is? What is the weight of the encyclopedia? Please tell me afterwards. Okay, now, the latest book that just come out is Smart Cities and Tourism, and the Sharing Economy and the Tourism Industry. These are the books. The Sharing Economy has come out a month ago. The Smart Cities is coming out about now. We've given you a discount of 30% if you use the Major Cities 22. When you go on the website, use the QR code. Make sure that you take pictures so you don't forget. Thank you. And the gamification for tourism. I'll refer to these things. So tourism in cities. Quite often, cities do not like tourists, because we are getting in the sense of many different people. Now, tourists who are going to cities are both domestic and international. It doesn't necessarily need to be international. And they're going for leisure and business. And a lot of different reasons. So when you see people around in cities, you do not know if they are local or if they are tourists. If you're going to a tourism resort, quite often you know more or less what's happening. But in big cities, you do not know who is whom. And actually, they've got a lot of different reasons why they go there. They may go shopping, sightseeing, they may go for sporting events, they may go for weddings, they may go for prayers and pilgrimage, they may go for conferences, all kinds of things. And every different motivation creates different needs. So they are temporary citizens that have got a vast range of different needs, and they need to be satisfied. It is difficult. Tourism is very, very complex. It's not easy. And there's a range of different motivations here why people are going, from sports and physical activities, attending events, education, heritage, nature, health activities. Someone was telling me that Larissa is becoming a health medical tourism center, religious activities, sightseeing, shopping, meeting and convention, passive leisure. All kinds of different things that require different specifications and different kind of services and value added. This is the arrivals in 2019. You can see in different places how many people were arriving. For example, in London we had 20 million tourists arriving. In Paris, similar kind of number. And all of those people are bringing a huge contribution to the local economy in cities. And during COVID, we understood that the tourists are actually paying for art, for culture, for shopping, for a lot of things that we've got in cities that we take for granted, and we think that's only for the local people, but in fact it's the tourists who are paying for it. Tourism has been very, very good for the last 40 years. It has been growing for about 4% over the period, and then COVID happens, and then goes minus 74%. This international tourism, domestic tourism, depending on the place had different kind of effect. In Bournemouth, where I live, tourism went up because a lot of the British people stayed domestic and they came to us in Bournemouth rather than go somewhere else. If you want to make me angry, you talk about over-tourism. There's no such a thing as over-tourism. There's just badly managed tourism. And it's really important to understand that we really need to understand flows of tourism, how tourists are going into the landscape, and what kind of activities they have. And that's really important to understand how to manage tourism in a way that's creating value for all the stakeholders. Be very, very careful. A lot of people are talking about over-tourism, but they do not understand the phenomenon. A lot of academics as well. And I keep telling them off. So there are situations where you've got high congestion of tourism, and there's a lot of aggressive behavior in places like Barcelona, where actively they discourage tourism. Please do not go to Barcelona. Go to a Greek place. They like to have you there. Don't go to a place where they don't like you. Cambridge is another place that they don't like you. Please don't go to Barcelona. Don't go to Cambridge, right? And you see some signs like that, tourism, terrorism. Now, smartness is about creating the tools to enable the tourism activity to happen in the best way and actually maximize the value for all the stakeholders. So tourism needs planning, management, and marketing. And because I'm talking on this, it's technology-enabled planning, management, and marketing. And part of the encyclopedia is the tourism pyramid. The top of this is what we call the tourism system, based on Neil Lipier's work, which is tourism is a system, resources are coming in, we do different things in the tourism, in the tourism system, where people are going from the generating region to the destination region, and then you create value for a lot of different things. Based on the encyclopedia, I created the pyramid to look into all the planning, management, and strategy that's required, all the market forces that determine what kind of tourism and what kind of services you need, all the exogenous variables that determine how tourism is operated, and then all the technology and the smartness that creates the infrastructure for tourism to operate. Obviously, I don't have the time to explain all that. Please read the paper to understand how, in order to manage tourism profitably and to create equitable returns on investment and to create value for all the stakeholders, including the tourists, the local residents, the different players in the ecosystem, how you manage the entire system. And the entire system is quite complex. I was recently in a conference and they were talking about Amsterdam, and they were talking about over-tourism in Amsterdam. And I said, okay, where's the problem? And the problem is nearby the train station, and the problem is in the red light district, because a lot of things happen there that create social problems. And I said, okay, when we are talking about places, we really need to understand where the problem is, and we need to see how strategies can come together and to use technology to understand what time, when things are happening, and what can we do about it. Okay, so we really need big data to granularize behavior and activity in order to be able to manage these things. My best destination is Disneyland. Disneyland is the best destination in the world. Why? Because we can control everything. We can control how many people are coming through, where they go, what they do. Nobody is complaining about that. You know why? Because they've taken care of it. Because there's music, because there's anticipation. I really want to go to the castle. And they're using queuing systems to actually manage where people are going and what they're doing. So it is this kind of strategy and smartness that we need to take advantage of in order to be able to operate tourism in the best way in a destination where a lot of different players are there. Now, a lot of people who are coming from the north of Europe and from rich countries do not understand that tourism is not optional, especially for remote, insular, rural, and peripheral regions. Greece does not have the option of not doing tourism. Italy does not have the option of not doing tourism. So a lot of people who are coming out and they're saying different things, they don't understand that you don't have a lot of other resources and you have got to do it. So you must do it properly. And that's really important. Now with COVID, we realize that it's the biggest crisis ever, but at least our assets are still there and we're still able to co-create value by using all our resources in the best possible way. But what we need to understand is that we need to look forward as the past is becoming irrelevant. What we were doing in 2018, 2019 is becoming irrelevant to what we'll need to be doing in the future. And the most important difference is that we've got the end of planning as we knew it. We used to do plans for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Now the plans, we've learned how to operate in the COVID situation very, very quickly. And now it is agility that's creating competitive advantage. And agility is coming from the ability to interconnect everybody through smart systems and use big data in order to be able to manage that. As a destination, what you're trying to do is you're trying to achieve strategic competitive advantage through destination differentiation. And you're doing all that in order to create benefits for the local people. In many destinations, actually, we do not create benefits for local people because people are taking the benefits away. And that's something we need to address, because if we do not do that, the residents, before you know, they'll say, hold on a second, we don't want tourism here anymore. So when you're looking for a vision for 2030, and 2030 is around the corner, 2030 is 7 years away effectively, and all the investments that they are going to be operating in 2030 needs to start now. So I'm spending a lot of time talking to people about 2030. Let me get a glass of water. So by 2030, we need to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Obviously, with the war in Ukraine, with COVID and all the rest of it, we've gone back a long way. Currently in the UK, inflation is about 10 to 12%. We just lost the Queen. We lost several prime ministers. And by the time I'll be back in England, I don't know what I'm going to find. Agility, right? It doesn't matter. But if you see the inflation, pasta, for example, 53% inflation in London right now. So I was in Kos last week, and they were telling me how wonderful it is for next year, the tourism and all the rest of it. And I said, wait and see, because it's very complicated. But tourism is the catalyst for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. I think this is the most important thing that we really need to realize. And also in cities as well, because in cities, most of the people have not realized how critical tourism is for them, because they had other activities. By 2030, tourism will be running on intelligence, will have inclusive and international tourism, and that will inspire and innovate. Because we need to create transformational experiences where people will travel and they'll understand that traveling is making them better people. If they don't do that, we don't create enough value. So it's really about driving through intelligence. And intelligence will be based on smart and agile co-creation of knowledge and value for all the stakeholders. The emphasis is on all the stakeholders. It's really important that everybody gets benefits out of tourism, not some people against some others. And the important thing is emotional intelligence, because most of the people who are traveling, they are traveling for a whole range of reasons, and ultimately their benefit is their emotional well-being. Tourism is about well-being and how we can improve the emotional well-being of people through emotional intelligence. Now, I'm going to go through very quickly a lot of techniques on how to do this. Now we've established what we try to do, we really need to look into how we're going to do that and what tools have we got to do that. There's a lot of research we've been doing for the last 30 years, and you see a lot of publications that explain all the different tools that we've got. And I'm a great admirer of Steve Jobs. Creativity is just about connecting things. When we're talking about smartness and technology, a lot of people are trying to find something that's really, really complicated, and they say, okay, where can I buy this system? But like Dimitrios from Trikala, the mayor, he was saying, it's really about a different way of thinking. So when we started with the first Mac, and that is me in 1987 with my first Mac, spot the difference, right? This is when we start designing systems. And it's all about the different layers, from the physical layer, the data layer, the technical layer, the business layer, and the experience layer. And you are building all of those things, one on top of the other, to actually create the experience for people to engage and enjoy. When you look into what actual technologies people are using, there's a lot of different technologies out there, but the trick is how do we connect all the technologies and how we connect the entire ecosystem in the way that is addressing all the needs, all the dynamic and contextual needs of consumers. And also, how do we bring the local residents and the local tourism activity and ecosystem together to actually manage all the resources in the best possible way. There are a lot of these tables and figures in my books that they are looking to which specific technology can be used when and how. Okay, but this is the detail, the strategy and the big things that we really need to use technology to understand consumer behavior and understand how it can be managed within a destination. Now, one of the very important things is that context is key. Why? Because we are different consumers in every single situation when we're traveling. Even the same person, myself, I'm very different when I'm coming to a conference. I was in Kos Island for a wedding. I had a very different behavior. Next week, I'm in the world travel market. The week after, I'm in Spain. It will be a very different behavior wherever I'm going. Maybe some key variables, but a lot of different things are contextual. So you have got the internal context with likes, goals, preference, tasks, emotional status, topics of interest, ability, disability, personal events, and approaches. And then you've got the external context from location, political situation, season, light, traffic, air pressure, delays, weather, strikes, emergencies. All of those things are changing the way we are producing tourism. And therefore, the co-creation of the tourist experience is very different based on those contexts. So it's really important to look into real-time, predictive, and adaptive into the contextual information. Because that is changing the conditions of what's happening. If it's going to rain tonight, it will be a very different experience from what we had last night. Okay. And I've done a lot of work with accessibility, and actually I went upstairs and I saw one of the wonderful paintings that they've done in a wonderful way. They've taken and they've done it very friendly for blind people to be able to read these things. But the accessibility, yeah, I can see the end of the time, but it was on 20 minutes, so I've got another 10, right? Or 20, or you know. Okay, the accessibility market, again, there are different kind of needs and contexts, and this is also very important. And again, we've got 2 books on accessibility tourism to understand the theoretical and the practical ways of how to address these things. And when we're talking about accessibility, we're not talking only about disabled people, but we're talking about people who are breaking a leg, parents with prams, elderly, and different kind of people, and also the different types of impairments and the severity of the different types of impairment. Now, again, all of those things require different technology to actually address the context of the individual to be able to enjoy the tourism experience. So smartness is really taking advantage of interconnectivity, interoperability of integrated technologies to re-engineer process and data in order to co-create value through innovation for all the stakeholders that are out there. It really is about networks, it's not about technology. A lot of people keep telling me that it's about technology, but it's not. It's really about using technology to optimize networks. And that is really why you cannot buy this, but you really need to get all the stakeholders to operate in that network. So it's not about automation, it's not about digitization, it's much more interoperability and interconnectivity of networks to co-create in real time value for all the stakeholders. We've done a lot of research in different areas. So this is about smart hospitality, where this box here is a hotel. These are the guests, and all this is the rest of the ecosystem. And we are modeling what needs to happen in order to have a smart system on smart hospitality. And this is the research that we've just published on looking to the drivers of smart hospitality and the foundations of the smart hospitality. Here you've got sustainability, dynamic process re-engineering, ambient intelligence and collective agility, and big data and warehouses in order to co-create value for hospitality stakeholders, brings customer centricity, personalization, individualization, and contextualization, bring data, marketing-driven hospitality excellence, and operational agility. This is changing the way we are managing hospitality, because you need to understand those foundations, and you need to understand these drivers to improve competitiveness. And this is the research that we've done for smart cruising and cruise ships, because the cruise ships are effectively hotels and destinations that are going between different places, and they connect in different ecosystems. And again, we've looked into what technology do we need on board and also to make sure that we've got the best way to satisfy consumers. And ambient intelligence is becoming, if you can do that for 8 minutes, it will be useful. Thank you. Ambient intelligence is about technology disappearing and interconnecting everything through artificial intelligence and machine learning to connect wide area networks. Where we're going is consumers being right in the middle and different stakeholders being right in the middle and having all the different technologies coming together to serve the value co-creation. And to do that, we've got enabling technologies that they're synthesizing innovations, and we're coming to the marketplace where supply and demand is meeting using different kind of technologies. This is based on big data, and this paper analyzed the big data that we have in tourism and who owns the big data, and how can we bring together the big data from different stakeholders to actually analyze in real time and bring value. And this is what we call SOCOMO, with social media, context, and mobile coming together in the marketplace to bring the best value to those travelers from the local travel industry. So when I arrived in Larissa, my good friend Dennis turned up and he showed me around, and that was my local input. But my systems will know that I'm in Larissa, so all that is changing based on my location and my needs, and value is coming forwarded into mobile devices that I've got to take me to the best places. The other thing that we've researched is how people are having online social conduct and face-to-face social conduct, because when they are traveling and when they are going from place to place, they are meeting a lot of people, receptionists, waiters, bus drivers, and things like that. But equally, they are at the same time online, and equally, they are connecting with their friends, with people that they know, and they are getting a lot of different advice. And again, that is also very important on how we are going to be doing tourism in the future, because up to now, we're thinking that people will take away their technology when they're traveling. But now I know much more than the locals, because I connect immediately to the source of information. And this is the work that we've been doing on gamification, and serious games and gamification for tourism. How can we use gamification for tourism? I don't have the time to explain all that, but you see that on the publications. And so here you've got human-to-human interaction, and you've got all the different stakeholders from business, governments, consultants, consumers, employees, interest groups, local residents, robots, and machines, and everybody is interconnecting with everything. And their systems connect. So we'll have instant interaction and interoperability and co-creation based on those things in real time. Because you've got nowness in the middle, you've got all these factors that are bringing you up-to-date information, and you're creating strategic competitive advantage based on now, based on the real-time information, on the context that you've got in real time. So in the past, you'll have competitive advantage based on price or differentiation. Increasingly, you've got competitive advantage based on nowness and instant gratification. Because if I know what's your need right now, I can deliver that to you and I can add value. So smartness brings data, it takes them up there, brings consumer value, and brings them back to the tourism suppliers. I've heard the word resilience a lot. And resilience is about two things. One is preparation for when things are going to go out of plan, and recovery. Recovery is recovery while there's the crisis and the time immediately after. So this some of the latest research we do about real-time response, how you use technology to bring back the tourism industry and interconnect all the different players in order to improve resilience based on nowness. Again, I don't have a lot of time, but you can see the paper here, and you can see how we're developing resilience. And I'll finish with robots. Robots, you'll see a lot of robots around. This is actually 4 or 5 years ago in China, where this little machine was following me in the New Century Grand Hotel in Hangzhou. And this in Hong Kong last year, this is called the Rise. It was spraying everybody so you don't have COVID. But again, technological adoption and robots depends on how people would like to appreciate the value that robots are bringing. And we look into innovation that is driving intention to adoption. Robots, yellow card, okay. Red card, okay, I'll finish here. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to play this for 1 second to give you a little bit of, let's have a little bit of sound on the voice. Okay, we don't have. This robot is creating a tea for you, and it's doing a dance every time to thank you for doing the tea. I'd like to see a waiter doing that next time they're offering me a tea, right? Okay, last thing is metaverse, and that's the big thing that we're doing right now. Bring augmented reality and virtual reality together and create immersive and elusive experiences on metaverse to enable people to try different destinations before they go. Do I like to come to Larissa or not? Can I experience it before I commit 5,000 euros and 2 weeks of my life? And if I like it, I come. If I like it, I don't come. The way it's going to work is that you're going to be digital and immersive before. You'll have augmented reality during the visit, and then you'll have digital after you visit. Okay, lots of references. Please buy the books. And thank you very much.
Okay.
How long was it?
It was over 30 minutes. Huh? It was over 30 minutes.
Over 30?
Yeah. Okay, we have also now a microphone actually for the audience. So if you want to raise your hand and ask a question to Mr. Buhalis, you can. Of course, maybe Giorgio, your take you heard now. Okay. Does anybody have a question right away for? Yeah, please stand up and take the microphone.
It's ready? First of all, many thanks from the city of Trieste. We are the representative of this city. And we are very happy that for the first time, at least for the first time, we see that you are keep in mind the possibility to gaming, this word that is very popular. And also in the city of Trieste, we are thinking about start a sort of virtualization of our museum, introducing some gaming technology, like, for example, Unreal Engine. Do you have any kind of experience in your country, in UK, regarding a specific method that could be inspire us? Thank you very much.
There are a lot of activities, there are a lot of prototypes that have been designed. And actually in Trieste, we've done work with the university. We've done in Belgium, in Aname, we've done in many different ways on how you're using technology to create models and to encourage people. We need to, look, we need to influence behavior of people. If everybody is going to the honeypots, what we call the honeypots is where we've taken pictures, Eiffel Tower, Piazza San Marco in Venice, and things like that. We've been encouraging travelers to go to very specific places, and now we're complaining that there are too many people where we told them to go, right? So what we need to do is we need to create tools to communicate in real time with people when they're at the destination and say, for your kind of value for time and money, we suggest to have this kind of itinerary. And we really need to try to encourage people to influence their behavior, number one, to improve interpretation and explain to people in their local languages. Everywhere we're going, we're communicating in English, but I like to communicate in Greek. Or if I've got Korean travelers who are coming to Austria, I'd like them to speak in according to their needs, individualization, personalization, contextualization. On this particular time, you'll do this. Now, anybody from Ireland here? I've seen some people from Cork. I was in Cork. Okay, it's always sunshine in Cork, right? If you believe the brochure, I was in Cork, we had a fantastic time. They keep telling me it's always sunshine. I said, look guys, please don't lie. It is green. It is green for a reason. It rains, okay? Now, if we understand what's the local context, then we'll improve the quality of your experience. I was in New York a few years back. I was planning to go out. It was a raining day. I went to the museums on the raining day, and I went out the next day. Easy, but we need to connect. The problem we've got in many things, including tourism, is that we do not connect. We do things the way we were doing them. We always believe that tourism will come because we are privileged, especially the Greeks think that. Oh, Greece is such a wonderful country, everybody will come to Greece. Of course you will come. And of course it's a wonderful country. But we need every time to be a little bit better. And we need every time to understand a little bit better what is the need of this person. Why are they here? They're investing their money and more importantly their time. Can we give them value for time back? Can we give them a transformational experience and they'll go back and say, wow, we had a fantastic time? And also, when I'm taking the local resources, am I consuming them with tourists? Can I provide value for the local people? We can get some water.
Yeah, we have also another question, so.
Okay.
There are other questions?
Yes, yeah, there are other questions. So yeah, one more then. Okay, no, do you want to finish the sentence? Or?
No, it's basically, how do I create value for the local residents? If I bring people to Thessaloniki, if I bring people to Venice, if I bring people here, how can I actually bring value, maximize the value for the local residents? But it needs management. It doesn't, you know, tourism around the world, quite often, it's just left to be managed on its own. It doesn't. That's disaster. We really need to manage it. We really need to use all the tools that we've got, and we really need to use strategy to be able to do it.
I think we should go to the next questions.
Yeah, yeah. That actually is tying in with what this morning was all about. The question is, how do we connect what you have shared about smart tourism with our agenda this morning, that of building sustainable places that value their heritage and environments?
Absolutely, that's a wonderful question. You remember the pyramid that we saw earlier? It's resources coming into the system to actually manufacture and co-creation of activities. So sustainability is really looking to after the resources and manage the resources according to what is happening and according to the context. Sometimes you need to say that, okay, in this part of the beach we'll have little turtles. I'm going to close this for 30 days. I'm not going to allow people to go into this place, so I'm going to allow 300 people to go into the pyramids every day. I'm not going to allow 5,000 people to go into the pyramids because I'm going to destroy it. So I understand the vulnerabilities of the resources and I create sustainable management and planning to actually address the sustainabilities towards co-creation of value.
Okay, I think we
unfortunately, we have to say thank you.
Yes, we are out of time, but thank you very much, Mr. Buhalis.